Hi everyone, welcome back to the KBS channel. My name is Yena and I am one of the co-presidents of KBS this year.
And I'm Jake Ressler. I'm the creative director of KBS. And today we are joined by KSA and KISO. And we will be talking about Valentine's Day. And we'll get more into the details of that. Let's just jump right into it.
So welcome to the KSA and KISO members. Can you guys go around and introduce yourself?
Yeah, we can start. So my name is Yena. I'm currently the KSA president.
And I'm Steffi. I am the Media and Design Events Chair of KSA.
My name is Halem Kim. I'm currently the Communications Team Leader in KISO.
And I'm Kate Ko. I'm currently in KISO working in the media team.
Perfect. Welcome everyone. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to join us today. So obviously today we're filming for Valentine's Day. So this is a very Valentine's Day themed podcast. So I just wanted to discuss first. I'm not sure if you guys are also aware, but obviously Korea has different traditions than Americans. So they have their own version of Valentine's Day, which is like White Day and Black Day. So are you all aware of that? Would anyone want to discuss like what that is, just so then the listeners can also be aware of what it is? Anyone can do it. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so for my knowledge, I think Korea has more of like a gender specific thing behind it. So like in American culture, Valentine's Day is just kind of like often males give chocolates to their girlfriends and flowers and stuff. But then in Korea, Valentine's Day is a day where girls give their boyfriends chocolates, and White Day is when guys give their girlfriends chocolates, I believe. So there's more of like a gender like specific role, I feel like is a big difference.
Would you, I know there's a little contrast there too. They have like Black Day. I think it's like March 14th or something. It's like a month after, where like all the single people just sit together in black, and eat jajangmyeon and eat black food and just like wallow in their singleness. Like, would you participate in that if you were in Korea as well?
I would if my friends are all doing something for that day, probably, and I'm single, but I wouldn't just do anything by myself, I feel like.
What about you guys, Harim and Kate?
I think it'd be the same for me. I wouldn't even celebrate Black Day unless it was like a group of friends like all together just celebrating like our singleness or something. But other than that, like, yeah, Valentine's Day, like definitely like, especially here in the US, we have like Galentine's Day too, which we do with friends too. So like honestly, like with friends, like we could do like Valentine's Day or Black Day together too. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I would kind of agree with what Halem said. And then also, usually in Korea, mostly and like on the 14th, like they have some kind of like special day. So then it can like be like Valentine's, like White Day, Black Day. They also have like more days each month, every 14th. So then I think that's what makes it kind of also like kind of different from like the US, probably.
Mm-hmm. I know, like Harim said, like Galentine's Day. Do you guys participate in that as well? I know I do. Like me and my group of friends, we always do that. Even though I am in a relationship, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like that's the day for the girls, you know. Do you guys have like special like traditions you do like Valentine's Day or anything like that on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I would say that like even if me and my friends are in relationships, we like make the effort to get together on a Valentine's Day like date and kind of just celebrate, you know, like we're a single independent woman, or like maybe we are in a relationship, but you know, we're still independent and strong women. And so that's what I think I appreciate about Valentine's Day.
I mean, I think personally for Valentine's Day, it's really good just because you could just get together with friends more, like basically have fun with the girls. Like we could just make like chocolates together or like handmade like pocky, like with pretzels and chocolate and everything. So just the fun of it with like the girlfriends is definitely good.
Something like I always wondered was, in America, like versus Korea, are like handmade gifts valued more, or like do significant others like value like actually purchasing gifts and then like giving that as, you know, like their Valentine's Day gift? Because I don't know if there's like a difference or if like there's even something there, but I've always been curious about that.
Someone else.
I know for me personally, I've never celebrated Valentine's Day in Korea. That's very obvious. But for me personally, I just, like, I don't value, like, purchasing and, like, getting gifts like that. I value, like, the intention behind whatever you end up doing. So, like, I like when I'm like surprised with something that I wasn't expecting. It doesn't necessarily have to be some surprise with something material, but it could be like an act of like I'm very like simple. Like if you do the dishes for me, like I'm like, you are the best person in the world. Like that is me. Like I like very simple acts, and like I find like a lot of like heart and intention behind those acts. So for me, that's more special than material. I don't necessarily know if that's like an American way of thinking, but like that's like for me personally.
Yeah, kind of bouncing off of that, I feel like it's maybe not more of like an American Korean thing, but maybe like a individualized thing, because for like love languages and things like that, there's people that love language is acts of service, so they would very much prefer a letter that took you like 2 hours to write, because that shows like your act of service, I guess, to them. But then on the flip side, there's people that has a love language of gifts, which genuinely like the quality and the quality of the gift really matters. So to other people that might seem materialistic, but to other people it could seem like you're showing me love by working hard and like giving me this great gift. So I feel like it is an individualized preference. I think as I'm like growing older, I'm learning to value both. So yeah, I think it's personal,
right,
and changeable.
right. I feel like I only had this question because like when I watch Korean dramas and stuff, and they're like, oh, it's Valentine's Day, or like all that stuff, it's always like, I bought you this gift, or I bought you this, like so many roses and like all that stuff. And so I didn't know if that was like a difference.
Oh,
you know?
I never noticed that. You're right.
Yeah, I never did either until you mentioned that. Now I might look at it a little bit differently now.
Maybe they just do it for the scene.
I mean, I personally think in Korea they have like more like options or like places to like make like personalized gifts compared to like here, because I just feel like they have like more options. Like they're very more like they have a lot of more creative like places to do those things. So I just feel like people have more opportunities to like customize, like making bracelets together, or like making like rings together, even like the shape of it, or like customizing like initials onto it. So it's just like there might be that sort of difference if we want to find the difference between the two. But definitely it depends on the person and like overall just everything.
I guess I have another question too, kind of like love themed, I guess, not specifically Valentine's Day. I feel like one of the biggest differences culturally is like a Korean dating culture versus like American dating culture. And what do you guys think are like the pros and cons of like each, I guess? Because I know so many of like my Korean American friends or just American friends are like, oh, I could never date someone straight from Korea or just like straight from Asia in general. And then I know some other people that are like, I could never date a Korean American or just an American in general. So I feel like there's a lot of cultural differences between honestly any relationship that's like international. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Different countries. But I was just wondering what your guys' personal like thoughts on those were.
I know for me, a lot of I'm sure like this applies to everyone else too, but like your parents have a big influence on who they want you to date. So like obviously like if since my parents are Korean, they want to see me with like a Korean guy. Unfortunately that didn't happen, but like you know, but like they have their preferences, and I like initially like that's what I looked for. But like it got too hard, like especially in America when you're surrounded by people of different races and different ethnicities. Like it's hard to like zone in on one, you know, unless you like go to church and then you get like one of the church boys. But like I did not like anyone from my church personally. So like for me, I chose to expand my options like on my own front, and it did take a while for my parents to like realize that was different, because for them they didn't really think about the fact that like there could be a possibility that any of me or any of my siblings could date outside of like a Korean person. So I think they've become more open to it, but like very obviously like initially like that influenced my decision a lot.
I feel like I have something to say. I feel like personally for me, like I've never dated someone that like is Korean or like Korean American, and so like I don't have like firsthand experience, but when I do think about that, I think about this one time I was listening to a podcast where two people were also talking about, you know, like interracial, is it
Something like
it's
that.
Like those kinds of couples, right? And the guy was talking about how this was the first time he had been in a relationship with a girl that was like the same race as him, and for him that experience like taught him that he couldn't go back to like dating outside of his race, because now they had this like common ground, and like there are so many things that you don't have to explain to your significant other because it's just unspoken about your culture. And so when I think about like dating someone that's like also Korean, I feel like that's what I want. Like those aspects that are just like unspoken, you know, like I don't have to explain to him why we like take off our shoes in the house, or like why we like eat kimchi, or like like all these things. And so I don't know, I would say that it's preference and that like parents have a role to play too, but I think like personally for me, that unspoken understanding is something that I would want, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was asking this question because we have like KISO, who's international based, and then KSA, who's Korean American based, and just honestly everyone based. And then there's KBS, who is leading this. So I just wanted to talk about like what you guys thought on that. So yeah.
I guess to bounce off of that, the next topic we wanted to discuss is like if anyone had like a standout like best or worst Valentine's Day that you had. Like you don't need to share anything crazy personal, but if anything sticks out to you, something interesting.
Yeah, you can each go around, say your best and worst. I don't necessarily have one. I feel like mine have been all like I get candy and I just eat the candy on that day. That's like I don't do anything like necessarily special, but like that's what I do.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't had like one where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such an amazing like Valentine's Day. But I will say that when we were younger in like America, when you would like make your little like Valentine's Day box and like everyone passed out like their Valentine's Day thing, like I always enjoyed that. Or like the little candygrams, like if you had a crush and you'd like send it to them.
Nice.
Yeah, that sticks out to me.
I think, yeah, for me, I wouldn't say there's one that I know was like the worst Valentine. I think I never really put too much pressure on like it being Valentine's. Like if you're in a relationship, every day should be Valentine's Day, you know? So, but I do think one memorable one was actually last Valentine's Day. It was like the first time I guess someone did like an event for me, I guess, for Valentine's Day. So they kind of just, or my boyfriend coordinated with like my roommates to kind of like set up flowers and chocolates in my room. So I guess that was pretty memorable.
For me, I don't think I really have like a real best or like a real worst, but I guess like Steffi said, like Valentine's Day when we were kids was definitely the best, where we get like a bunch of candy from like fellow classmates or like just like with parents there too, like when we had those small like Valentine's Day parties. Those are definitely the best. But if I had to pick one with like a significant other, it would just be like a fancy dinner or like exchanging like handmade chocolates we made together or yeah.
I don't think I really have a like a best Valentine's and a worst Valentine's Day, but then one thing I do know is like on Valentine's Day, what makes it really something memorable is like it doesn't have to be really in couples. Like one day, like I just went out with my friends and then we just kind of made chocolate like handmade. I mean that's actually really a best thing actually. It's just very memorable.
You don't need a significant other for Valentine's Day. That's just a summary here. Like, we don't need no man. We don't need anyone to do
Yes.
that.
Yes.
No, I remember with my friends, like, I know, like, when we were younger, like, for the classmate Valentines, we would always, like, pick out, like, the best-looking, like, coolest Valentine version. But then as we got older, my friends and I, we would, like, pick, like, Peppa Pig Valentines or like something like really childish and like something like so stupid, but like it was like funny because like we would never have picked that as when we were kids, you know. But like that's just something we did, and we were just like we probably look so foolish like in the school cafeteria like giving out Peppa Pig like Valentines, but like that's just like the tradition that I know like my friends and I did. Let's see, do you guys have any recommendations to do for this upcoming Valentine's Day? Because obviously, like COVID, it's like hard to think of like creative ideas because like the easiest one is to go to a fancy dinner and get all dressed up and like all that, but it's hard to do that now. So do you have any recommendations for anyone that is looking for like maybe ideas?
Maybe like making small like care packages or like goodie bags just to send out to like fellow friends or like your significant other, but just giving out that love on Valentine's Day, not to your significant other, but just to like other friends and like fellow classmates or anybody else would be pretty nice.
We do have Zoom, so that I mean we can just do like a Zoom call like with your friends, or even if you're like in a relationship, and like for my case, I'm actually a long distance relationship, so then if especially we would have a hard time celebrating on a special day. So then that's why I think like if you can just do a Zoom call and then maybe just have like a deep conversation, I think that'll be also make one of the meaningful Valentine's Day that during this pandemic maybe.
I'm thinking because I feel like if you can get together with your significant other, like obviously like don't go out if you like don't have to, but like you can make a dinner together, or then like get dressed up and make dinner and stuff and do that at home, or like you can just, I don't know, I feel like you can do a lot like just at home. But also I like the idea of like, you know, making a care package, or like even just sending like little like video messages like to your friends on that day. That could be like a cute substitute for a COVID edition Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I think for couples and friends that are like less like I want to do something for this day, honestly watching movies together I feel like is a good just chill like thing that can also accommodate for our other like less like I don't want to put makeup on people, whereas like, you know, there's also people that do want to wear makeup and just like look cute and things. So yeah, like Steffi said, I feel like it'd be cute to kind of do like an at-home restaurant / like going out date night, and planning like parts of it together would be fun too. Do you guys have any plans for Valentine's Day? I guess to like wrap it up.
I don't really have anything. I mean, like I have a significant other here, and we can't really plan anything to do. So like I think we're just gonna have dinner here and just finish up this season of Shameless that like has updated. That's our plans. I know, so romantic, but What about you guys?
I don't think I have plans. Yeah. But I think I'm definitely gonna have a good Valentine's. Because I think it's my first Valentine's Day, like, in a while that I've, like, been single. And so I'm just trying to, like, work on, you know, empowering yourself during that time.
I'm definitely all in with Steffi. Definitely during this year, like Valentine's for sure. Just like empowering our love with the girls, with each other, just like celebrating. I also think we might have like movie nights or just like making pocky and stuff like that, but under safe measures, of course. But yes, definitely empowering that girl power, girl love.
Okay, well, we hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. This has been Yena and Steffi from KSA. If you want to get in contact or learn more about our student organization, you can follow us on Instagram at KSA_OSU, or follow us on Facebook, which is, I believe, the Korean Student Association at The Ohio State University.
I'm Halem Kim from KISO, and there's Katie Ko. We also have an Instagram page, which is OSU__KISO. And we also have a Facebook page just as KISO OSU. So if you guys have any questions or if you're interested, just please contact us.
It was really nice hearing about all the recommendations the members had and hearing about their different experiences for their respective Valentine's Day. And we had a lot of fun discussing with them. Thank you again to the members of KSA and KISO that have joined us today. We really appreciate the time you took out to join us.
And thank you to everyone for watching this podcast. And we will see you guys on our next podcast coming up soon. Thank you.
Thank you.